finance, financial management is an important aspect of everyday life, especially for millennials and Gen Z. However, many of them face greater financial risks due to a lack of understanding of good financial management.
Which one, millennials or Gen Zs?
I think every generation has their own challenges.
Challenges and impacts, that's for sure. One of the main factors causing greater financial risk among millennials and also Gen Zs is a consumerist lifestyle. Both generations are tempted to buy unnecessary items just to fulfill momentary desires, and they often get caught up in the latest fashion trends, technology, luxurious lifestyles without thinking or impulsive about the long-term impact on their finances.
Yes, that's right. To discuss more about financial management behavior of millennials and Gen Z and ways to manage them, let's have a chat with personal finance enthusiast, a millennial himself, Dani Rachmat. Good morning.
Thank you for Gen Z. Our most favorite.
I'm a millennial.
Mas Dani is here.
You're all millennials here.
All right, so before we're going to discuss on differences and about the final management between millennials and also Gen Z, how do you see the difference between behavioral and even the culture itself between these two generations, millennials and Gen Zs?
The exposure to information and how we manage the financial is depend on what we were taught of. From myself, I was taught that there were not so many financial instruments during my younger days. I'm still young now.
Yes, younger days.
And the information was so difficult to get.
Yes.
And it cost me a lot of money to start to invest. But nowadays, information are abundant and there are so many financial instruments as well as way to shop. So that makes the difference.
Yeah, and of course, millennials and also Gen Zs, we are digital natives, and that's why consumerism definitely plays a part of this. We already see, though, Mas Dani, that millennials and Gen Z, we're somewhat aligned, but then we're two different, separate generations also. Like, well, millennials, I felt like I'm a millennial here. But when I want to shop about some things, I need to see it in person. I mean, as opposed to Gen Zs, I think they just go online and they would, trust it, and they would think, okay, I like it without even touching it. If we're going to talk about something, if they want to go shopping, they don't need to see, the product itself. They can just buy it online. Like, as I think for millennials, we have to go. We'll see something online, we like it, we go to the offline store, we have to touch it, we have to feel it, and we'll think about it once or twice, and then we'll think about it, okay, is this necessary or not?
Up until 1 week later, we still haven't buy that.
Right.
Yes.
And then we'll feel like, oh, I regret it so much because now the shoes is not there anymore on the shelves.
Yes, that's right. So in your opinion, Dani, like we talked about financial planning, how it different from generation to generation and what are still the same?
What's still the same is that actually the financial goals are still the same, pretty much the same. Whether you are Gen X, millennials, and then Gen Z, you still have to prepare for the retirement.
Okay.
Or your old days when you can no longer work. But what makes the financial planning is different because that as I said, so many financial instruments now is accessible for everyone, and the cost to invest is getting lower and lower nowadays. But the risk, the understanding of risk is quite different between generations. Maybe for our parents' generation, they are thinking more about risk because it was way harder to get money to work and then get paid and spend it. They will be very
Cautious or careful?
Cautious and careful. And then it was passed down to us so that we are still have to see something before we buy and everything. But nowadays, the understanding of risk is getting, younger generation don't think much about risk.
Yeah, they undermine it.
Yes, they undermine risk. Because of what? Because they see that I can buy this right away. I can just invest here, and then if I lose money, maybe I can get it faster compared to the older generation. Why? Because so many new economy that they can get it into nowadays.
Yeah.
They can do content creating, they can do
Yes.
consulting via online platform and everything. So maybe that what makes the difference in the financial management nowadays.
Yeah, and definitely I see a lot of social media content where I saw a lot of influencer persona where you see these young people and sometimes they're very, upfront that they do not have any college degree. They finish high school and then a couple months later, and this is what I do. I can have Rolls Royce, I can have Porsche and Lamborghini with stacks of cash.
McLaren.
Yeah, and then flying private jet. If you want to be like me, then you have to be good, investment and
Whether it is really their own or not.
We don't know.
Yeah,
We don't
know.
understand. But
Yeah.
of course, with Gen Zs, which they, almost 100% of their time in
Yeah.
social media, and they thought, well, I want to be as wealthy and as
Yeah.
powerful and as successful as this person. Maybe I could follow along as that person.
Yes.
It seems that there's just so many cases like that now.
Yes, and I also saw, even not that extravagant, but I also see so many contents that say that you can get money from Instagram, from TikTok,
Yes.
even not without showing your face. So this is how
Yes.
I can get hundreds of
Right.
millions within
Yes.
couple of weeks, couple of months.
Yes.
So maybe, that what makes the understanding of risk is way different compared to us.
Right. So if you lose a job, it's okay because
It's okay,
you can
because
just stay at
I
home
can-
and you can
yeah.
make contents.
Yeah.
And then also generate money.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you look at the behavior of us, the millennials, and maybe also the Gen Z, do you think we can find similar thing? For example, we are labeled as those chasing because we are fear of missing out, and then we are very
FOMO.
consumptive, and then you only live once,
That's right.
This YOLO attitude. Do you think actually this kind of behavior or levels is not only for these two generations, but we can also find it on the older generations, or this is specific to this latest two generations?
Yes, that is interesting part of this information age, that
Yes.
even the generation of my parents, when my mother saw something in TikTok or Instagram, and she will, thankfully that she cannot do it by herself. She will,
She asks you.
she asks me,
Okay.
where can I get this, where can I get that? But
Right.
then the fear of missing out is something that can get into everyone's
It's
mind.
human nature.
Yes, human nature. But then how I say this? The way that we pick which one that we want to get into that trend, the fear of missing out, whether we want to get into the trend of spending
Yeah.
or investing.
Yes.
So actually, there is has the two side effects that can
Yes.
affect financially in a very different way.
So we're going to take several points of difference between the financial management between millennials and also Gen Zs. And please do elaborate more on this, Mas Dani. First, approach to finance. We're going to see that the approach to finance, the difference between millennials and Gen Z.
Okay, the approach to finance for millennials and Gen Z. Millennials still thinks that we were raised with more traditional values, like when you get to certain age, you need to get married, and then you need to have children and
Yes.
everything. But Gen Z, nowadays, I see many people, younger generation, they don't see the needs to get married
Okay.
as soon as possible, or maybe not getting married at all. And when you get married, you don't need to have children. I found so many people say that, okay, we are married, but we don't want to get any kids.
Yes.
So that makes a very strong difference very big difference in how they see how to manage money.
Right.
For millennials, maybe I want to have a home,
Yes.
and then I want to invest for my kids' education and
Educations,
everything,
yes.
and I have to plan for holidays. While for Gen Z, when they say that, okay, I'm not getting married, I just want to travel around the world.
Yeah.
So the priorities is different.
Okay.
And then when they say that I don't want to have kids, they can just splurge money on daily basis, like, okay, now I want to eat out there, and then we want to dine here, and we want to taste that, and everything, those kind of things.
Okay.
So it's really limitless, I think,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the
Because,
Gen Z behavior.
shorter time horizon for
Yes.
the Gen Z. And for the priority of expenditure, do you see it differently also between these two generations?
Yes, very. Because but actually the priority that they should set is that I always say that the priority should be the pension fund that you have to set aside earliest as you can.
The earliest, the
The
better.
earliest. But then, millennials tend to prioritize their kids, their education fund for their kids. But then the Gen Z, they tend to prioritize how to enjoy life,
Yeah.
going to concerts, and then taking holidays and trip and those kind of things.
Having luxurious items.
Yes,
because-
luxurious items.
Right.
Watch with the price tag of a house in
Yes. Somewhere
Instagram.
in the region, yes. Now, of course, it's very different from the priority itself.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, whatever generation you are, we are going to have a retirement.
Retirement,
so
yes.
that is something that you can uphold.
You will not work forever,
Yeah.
despite the generation you are
Yes.
born into.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we're going to see understanding of investments, the difference between the two generations.
This is very interesting because for us millennials, I don't know, you are investing in stocks, right? And we are more inclined to those more traditional investment options. But now for Gen Z, so many younger people that I met, they say that, no, I don't want to invest in stock because stock is for old people. So I stock in,
Oh, wow, they even said that
yeah,
articulately.
in coins.
Okay.
Yes.
In coins, and then they want to invest in more aggressive and more risky instruments like crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding.
Yes.
Actually, there is also stock, but it's not a listed stock, because this crowdfunding, I know the owner, I know the what is it? They just got
The
this
founder.
round of investing from this angel investor and everything. So
Well, aren't they afraid of the risk, though? Or for them, it's just...
because it's just
Different
if,
risk appetite.
if I lose the money, I can get it somewhere else. I can do something else to get more money.
Okay, so they're a risk taker.
Yeah,
Because they're still young, right?
they're
Yeah.
still young, and
Like-
maybe
We were young before, but I don't think we're that
Yeah,
risk
yeah,
takers at our age.
For them, it's like, make it now,
Yeah.
faster.
Okay. So what
Faster.
happened today is
Yeah.
today.
Yes.
We'll see about tomorrow.
Yes.
Why-
Like people, like older people, whenever they see risk or if their friends like lose money in stock, they will like, oh, I don't want to try. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But
Right.
for the younger one, like crypto, despite a lot of news, people lose their investment in crypto,
Yeah.
they're still like
Yeah,
jumped
yeah.
into it.
Okay.
So why should I put money and I get only like 18% a year,
Yeah.
while I can make like 20% only within 3 months?
Okay.
That was the worst that I keep hearing from the younger people.
That's why we see a lot of 20-year-olds right now are becoming very, very successful in the
Yes,
world.
having Lamborghini and
Yes.
Rolls Royce.
Yeah. Something that
Yes.
usually back then we see only 50 to 60 years old would have that, but now you
Yeah.
see younger people has it. Okay. Next up, Alin.
Yeah, and about doing business and side income, you mentioned this earlier. Maybe
Yes,
you can
doing-
elaborate more.
Doing business and side income, as we see that so many younger people showing off their success within a year, within 3 months. So obviously younger people, they want to get into business as soon as possible. But that is a good
That's
thing
a positive
actually.
thing, right?
Yes, positive thing, because unlike me, who decide to become a salaryman and only can invest 30% of my income, they can invest all of their income into the business and build the wealth as soon as possible. So hopefully if that can go along the way and they keep it constantly, they can enjoy a happier older life.
Yeah, so I think again the risk attitude,
Yeah.
risk taker attitude that make them like
Yeah.
that, right? They become entrepreneurship and jumping into the business in a very
Yeah.
young age. All right, so the last one is attitude towards debt. So does Gen Z has debt, by the way?
A lot. I'm so
Okay.
sorry, I have to say a lot, because many people that I
It seems that pay later become their daily
yes,
life.
yes.
Okay. Oh, that is the depth, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That is a very high interest paying debt that pay later. While we are millennials, we are more careful about using debt. Maybe we are using that only to buy
Assets.
houses, assets, or maybe sometimes we buy car using that. But then nowadays, Gen Z, because they can access the information very easily and can access the instrument very easily, when they see their friends posting like, what is it, the latest tumbler that is so hype in certain area, they can just decide, okay, I want that and I want to buy, and then they just buy. If they don't have the money, they can just use pay later. Well, for us, many of us millennials, we still see that, okay, this is, maybe I don't need it. I still have another 10 tumblers in my kitchen that is not used. Okay, maybe I'll just wait like maybe another 2 weeks. And then when the trend is died down, we no longer want to buy that.
Yeah.
But for Gen Z, they have to buy it now because they have to be seen holding that tumbler and then post it in their social media.
Like flexing, right,
Yes.
for them. I mean, it's great that I have two of the finance experts right here. I'm sandwiched between them. So I just want to ask, though, for millennials, the attitude towards debt, are we more into paying off as soon as we can? Is that like that for millennials?
I think this one, because I talked to a property agent also, and also like car agents, like they tell me like the difference between buyers nowadays, like people, like older people, like they tend to put as much down payment as possible to make the installment smaller.
Yes.
And also the term shorter. But younger people nowadays, she said that if the down payment can be made zero, they ask for zero down payment, but they can afford bigger installment. And the installment is very big and it's very long. For a house, for example, like
up until 30 years.
Up until 30 years, 25 years, 20 years. And the installment is very, very big. So if something happened to your salary, I don't think they can afford it because they couldn't accumulate the money for the down payment.
Yes.
Right. So it's two different attitudes.
Interesting, yes, because just a couple of weeks ago, I had a conversation with my millennial clients. For a house with a price tag of 1 billion, they put down the down payment like 400 million rupiah.
Almost
Big
half.
enough, almost half. And the interest rate, interestingly, they get like a fixed interest rate like below 10%, even up until the 10 years.
Oh, good for them.
Very, very low, right? And what they are thinking is that, is it okay if we paid off the debt like in the 5th year?
Yeah.
I said that, why the hell are you doing that if you get the low interest rate while you can invest your money in like the share of that bank that giving you the mortgage, and then you can get like 19 to 20% a year. And then, oh really? I think that paying off the debt as soon as possible is still the best step.
Because you don't want to have that burden, right?
But while that is the approach of that for the older generation, and while they can have their money invested in a more profitable way instead of paying off their debt.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because sometimes I think with us millennials, I mean, one of our colleagues does that too, right? He has, he found some amount of money. So he put that all in his mortgage, right? Oh, wow. I mean, he needs to pay, there's, you need to pay extra, right? Because
penalty because
there's penalty.
Before the
he paid the penalty, but then he felt like, well, my productive age is going to be like, I mean, we're already now reaching our 4.0. Then how long are we going to be more productive?
4.0.
Maybe those millennials need to see us to know that no, you don't have to pay off your debt as soon as possible, as long as you can get another option.
Yeah.
While for those Gen Z, they need to see us that, hey, you need to pay down your down payment more so that it will be lighter for you going forward.
So it's a very at the end of the spectrum between the millennials and Gen Z.
But this friend, like, that's what the decision that he made.
Oh, because he said, no, I don't want to have that burden. I mean, he has a family and whatnot. Yeah. Again, we are now reaching, well, now we're still very productive, but I'm going to say he's much older than us. And that's, I mean, the attitude I I kind of realized and understood why he takes part on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think I'm more like that person who will try so hard to pay all the
Mine too.
debt
I just talked to my husband.
before the term.
This becomes like a family circle. I'm not like a friend circle, just joining coffee. But I just did the same thing with my husband. I was like, once we have the capital, I think I just want to like brush it off because I don't. It's always on top of our mind. At the certain date of every month, like you have to put out this
Yes.
sum of money.
Yes.
If I can just eliminate that, I would venture to something different because that thing is always in behind of our head.
Understandable.
Yeah, because maybe we're like too overthinking.
We're too old, by the way, guys.
OT, like people nowadays say, overthinking. And now, what advice would you give to both millennials and Gen Zs so that we can manage our money better?
When it comes into money, actually, you only need to see the actual goal that you need to prepare since the very beginning. And then for every option that you are going to do, money is easy, right? You just calculate how much you will get, how much you will pay. Only as simple as that. But then the hard part is to hold yourself, not get swept into the FOMO trend.
Okay.
Yeah, so whatever trend that you see in social media, whatever people say in social media, doesn't have to be you.
Right.
Doesn't have to be you. Yes, you can be that person, but doesn't have to be you.
And don't have to be impulsive.
Yes.
I mean, there's also now we've seen a lot in our social media where if you're wealthy or if you're like old money, you would buy some certain cars. Like let's say you have 1 billion rupiah on your account, you would just buy 150 million.
Yes.
But then if you're, if you want to look and you want to flex, you only have this amount of money, and then you would pay off something that is just much
Way
larger
more.
as your,
Yes.
your invest or your savings.
What we have to remember is that old money never flex in social media, right?
Yes. Yeah, and we're trying to be like that one day, right?
Yeah.
For all of us.
External validation, I think that's what like people nowadays look for.
But then external validation didn't add anything to our asset or to our value. Right?
Wow, very deep. Dani Rachmat, very deep.
Mas Dani, thank you so much. It's always
Thank
a
you very much
pleasure.
for
We're going to
having
see a
me.
lot of you more, definitely. I'm counting my numbers right now in my head, by the way.
And we're set for a commercial break. When we return, we'll bring you the world headlines, so stay with us.